In this video, I'm going to tell you how to go on an interview for a 10K a month high ticket sales role and get the job, even if you've never been on one before and you have no idea what you're doing. So the number one thing that usually keeps people from succeeding in high ticket sales is just ending up in a bad job. This is why people quit, why they get discouraged, or they just don't make the money that they originally wanted to. And a lot of times this is going to happen. You're going to end up in a bad job because the interviewer lied to you. So they told you your on-target earnings each month would be one thing, and then you get in there and you don't make any money at all, really. So if you go on an interview and you just know what to ask, you can tell if they're lying to you or if you're actually interviewing for a really great job. First, why do businesses do this? Because it helps to understand this. People just think, oh, well, this guy runs a business. He must know what he's doing, but many times they don't. So many times a business owner will go to hire a salesperson, quote unquote, but they're actually hiring you to do lead generation and not actually sales. So they're hiring a salesperson to do the work that they don't want to do, basically. So that could be lead gen, cold outreach, or taking sales calls and just hoping people will buy from you, even though they aren't buying from him. But in reality, the reason that no sales are being made is because his business sucks, it's trash, and he has all these other problems that he needs to fix. If a business is selling a good product and he has marketing dialed in, sales should not be a problem. People should be buying. So to simplify this for you, if I could only ask the person that you are interviewing with 3 questions, it would be these. Number 1, how much money do you make every month? Number 2, do you have a consistent booked calendar of sales calls scheduled every day, or at least consistently? Number 3, if the answer is yes to number 2, how are you getting those sales calls scheduled? How are you generating those sales calls? If I get the answer to these 3 questions, I can tell you immediately whether or not this is a business where you can make a lot of money or you're going to end up a poor, broke loser working for no pay, basically. So let's talk about these questions. The first question, how much money do you make every month? Specifically, you can ask them, what was your revenue last month for the last 30 days? Or what was your revenue for the last 90 days? Because you want to know, okay, they've been making good money consistently for a while. So why is this question important? Obviously, if they're making a lot of money every month, they're doing things right. They're making sales. They have a legit product that people want to buy. Their internal business is probably not a gigantic clusterfuck disaster. And the last one, the quality of the business that you're selling for is extremely important. Sales skills, objection handles, role playing, even what you're selling, none of these are even close to as important as just getting into the right spot, selling for the right business. Because that's what's going to make all the difference on whether or not you make a lot of money in high ticket sales or whether or not it spits you out the other end in the fetal position and now you're bitter and angry for the rest of your life that you watch some high ticket sales content on YouTube. When you land a good job and you just work hard, the sky is the limit for you. Whereas if you land in the wrong job, that's going to suck. That's going to send you off on a whole nother opposite trajectory. So let's go to the second question. Do you have consistent sales calls booked every day? If they don't have consistent booked calls every day on the calendar, that is not good, obviously. It could mean that they have a shitty product that no one wants to buy, or they don't post social media content, or they don't run ads, which means they really suck at marketing, which usually this is going to be the main reason because they don't do content, they don't do ads. And these things overall just indicate you're not going to make any money. When a business owner doesn't post content or run ads, but he's hiring a salesperson, it's because he wants you to cold call and cold outreach people all day to generate the leads and the sales calls. Whereas if he would just be a good business owner and post tons of content and run ads, he'd already be generating those leads and you could actually do the sales and not the bullshit marketing that he's trying to hire you under the guise of being a salesperson. You see what I'm saying? This is how it is. So these are why you ask these questions. So if he says, yes, I have a consistent book calendar of calls every day, then you just ask the third question. How are you generating those calls? Which I just mentioned how, right? Usually it's going to be inbound warm leads who are going and scheduling the sales calls themselves through a link off of seeing the business's social media content every day. So that means the business takes this seriously. They work on their personal brand. They post content targeted at their niche every single day. People like them. People want to buy from them. Things like this. Or it could also be from paid advertisements. Same concept, right? This is also great. Or both, even better. And these things indicate the most important factor. Does this business owner know what he's fucking doing or not? If he's doing these things, then he does know what he's doing. He's taking this seriously, his business is dialed in, and this would be a good place for you to be a salesperson. And a quick note, it is totally acceptable for you to ask all of these questions on the interview. I'll have people be like, oh, I don't want to ask them how much money they make. And I'm like, okay, then you're going to get screwed, right? You want to know if this is a legit job or not. If they have a problem with that, that's weird, okay? If a salesperson asked me these questions on an interview, I would instantly respect him more, right? You don't want to do it in some arrogant way. That's not what I'm talking about. You're just asking questions like a normal person, right? If they have a problem with that, that's a massive red flag. If they give you flack about it or act weird, that's the indicator right there that this person has no idea what they're doing in business, or they haven't been in business that long. If they're that sensitive that you asked about how much money they make, they either don't make any fucking money or they have all types of problems and you don't want to sell for this person. Red flags. So, secondary, less important things that I believe are equally important for you to know to make a decision on accepting this role or not. You could also ask them, and this is beyond those first three main questions, you could ask them, how many sales reps do you have right now and how much do those reps make each month? The reason this is not a main question is a lot of high ticket businesses, you might be being hired to be the only salesperson. So it's more of a secondary thing if they have a sales team, right? And the way you could get more specific about this is how much does your top sales rep earn on average every month, and how much does your bottom sales rep earn on average every month? Because somewhere in the middle, you can be like, okay, that's probably where I'm gonna fall, at least hypothetically. And you can even ask for that data for the last 3 to 6 months, the sales team's data. With top and bottom, again, you're gonna get a very clear idea of what your average income would hypothetically be. Now, if you are the only sales rep that they are hiring, which is also very common, all you need to know is the monthly revenue and if they already have a full calendar of calls scheduled every day, and how are they getting those calls scheduled. The third one is very important. If they are making a lot of money every month, and you get 10 to 15% of that revenue, you can quickly do some math before you accept the job on what you are likely to make. Now, let's do a different scenario where maybe you're interviewing with a business that is legit and they're growing, but they're earlier on. So maybe they're not making that much money, they're making some money. Let's say a business owner says, I'm doing $50K a month right now. You're gonna make about $5K a month as a salesperson when you start, but he tells you our revenue has been growing every month and you're quickly going to make more than that. If you are told that, in that case, it would be a decision up to you. Many times getting into a role at the right time as a business is growing could be a very lucrative thing for you. So you could get in at $6K a month, and then 6 months later, you might be making $15K a month. Very short amount of time. And that's exactly what happened with me and the fitness coach. I came in and he was like, I've been taking all the calls and it's keeping me from focusing on all these other things in the business that I need to do because I'm just on sales calls all day. Then I started taking the calls, took that off his plate, and the business exploded because he doubled down on content and ads and he had all that time to put into that now. So this is just an example of how this can play out for you or how this might happen, right? So these are the questions I would ask on any interview. If you do not get this information from the person that you're interviewing with, the business owner or whoever, you are doing yourself a major disservice. And when a business owner tells you, hey, this is your on-target earnings, your OTE, this is what we think you will make in this role. In a bad role, they are just guessing. And they're saying, I think you will make this much. In a good role, they're saying, this is what other sales reps in this position have made or have been making every month. And we are taking this number off of data. Much better. Now, a question I get a lot, which I'm going to wrap this video with, is how do I approach and handle interviews? This is a very broad question that I could handle with you much more specifically in my program, but for the sake of this video, first thing, obvious things. Make sure you're on time. Be 5 minutes early, okay? Don't show up at the call time, show up early. Make sure you look cleaned up, you don't look homeless. Black t-shirt is fine, it really doesn't matter. Just don't have on some weird shit. And make sure that the background, this is very important, the background behind you is not dirty or weird, okay? Like don't have like your bed behind you with like a pile of dirty clothes. I'm just like, Are you stupid? You know what I'm saying? And also, this is a personal thing, and I know a lot of people, even business owners, will disagree with me on this, but when you use the blurred background and you blur what's behind you, I find that extremely distracting. And the whole call, I'm just like, what are you hiding? Where do you live where you feel like you need to blur the background? Why are you so paranoid that you need to hide? It's just all bad. There's nothing, it's not normal. It's weird. So when I talk to salespeople who blur that background, I'm just like, I don't like it. So it's just not a good thing. Like, if you live somewhere where you need to blur the background, then you need to figure that out. And second, if you're so paranoid about hiding and all this privacy, like, bro, no one cares about you. It's just a negative. It's a downside. Stop blurring the background. It's weird. Just find an acceptable place to do the interview. And then the way that you want to think is going to sound cliche, but it's literally all you need. You just need to be confident and believe that you are the best fit for this job, because most people come on to sales interviews and they're just like, oh God, I hope they approve of me. Oh, I'll do anything to impress you. That is wrong. That's going to come across as you're needy and weird. Just come on there and believe, like, I can do this. I am the best fit for this job and I'm going to work hard. I will be the best option for them. You just want to think that way in your mind. Take a few minutes to think that way before the interview. This shit literally works. You just need to set your mind straight, take a deep breath for a few minutes, don't scroll on your phone, and just think that. It takes like 2 to 3 minutes before you get on the call. And this is another reason to show up a few minutes early. And the more to that, things that you could think is, it doesn't really matter if you have experience or not. If you think this way, it's a choice. You know what I'm saying? Like, your vibe and how you feel about yourself will come across on the call. So you just want to believe in your mind, I'm going to work harder than anybody else than they would, and they would be stupid not to hire me. You just want to think like that. That's how I always thought. And if you come on there though, and you're like the people I mentioned before, and you're unsure of yourself, or you're mumbling, they're going to be like, what the hell's wrong with this guy? I'm not hiring this person, you know? So once you've done this, just go on the interview, and then when it's an appropriate time, you want to ask the questions that we talked about in this video. You don't want to come on the interview and just like immediately barge in there and be like, well, before we start, I've got to ask 3 questions, like barging in there with demands. That's weird, okay? You want to let them run the interview, and then you ask your questions at the end. That is an appropriate time to do this. And that's really all there is to it. People ask me like, bro, what are the interview tricks? How do you approach the interview? And like, all this is overthinking. Just do the interviews. You don't need an hour-long 75-point checklist for interview prep. That's weird. Just be a normal person that isn't weird. Just talk to them like a grown man to man, right? This is just a product of like information age, where people are like, oh, I need to tie my shoes. Let me go watch 97 hours of YouTube videos on how to tie a shoe. It's like, bro, just go do shit. Do the fucking interviews. Do more of them. You'll get good at them. End of story. But remember, to circle back, you have every right to ask these main questions that I went over in this video. These are extremely important. If you do not ask those 3 questions on every interview that you go on, you're basically just asking to get bent over. So that's the end of the video. If you want my help getting a closer role or a setter role, go to the links in the description. Until next time.